So here we go. We made it to part 9-ish. And we said that we want to be so connected to Kedusha, to Hashem, that our physical cravings can't pull us away. We're just not so interested anymore in that world. Once you put on your tefillin, how you're meant to put on your tefillin, and it's an unbelievable experience, then you're not running after video games anymore. It's just not. It's not the same quality of greatness and sweetness and holiness and experience. It's a much deeper experience. But then we said not just that, we can actually flip and get our whole body and our senses to work for our neshama as well. So we can use our legs to run, to shul, and we can use our eyes to learn Torah. Really, why did God give you eyes? God gave you eyes to see the pain of other people so you can have compassion. God gave you eyes to see the beauty of the world, to give you awe and wonder. God gave you eyes to learn Torah. God gave you eyes for these things, so you want to be using your eyes for those things. You can't be using your eyes that God gave you as this amazing gift to connect to Him, to be watching things that God doesn't want you to watch. It's taking you away from Him. It doesn't work. God gave you a mouth. Do you know why God gave you a mouth? So you can say kind and uplifting things to other people. You can inspire other people. You can speak words of Torah and you can pray. So you're going to put other people down. You're going to use that mouth to say curse words and put other people down, that you like dirty your mouth, that you're then going to go and say a bracha with. It's very hard to say a real bracha once you've used that mouth to put someone else down. You hurt someone with that mouth. So God gave you your mouth for all these holy things. So you've got to be using it for those holy things. Your legs, you got legs so you can run to help people. You got legs so you can get to shul on time. You got legs and you got legs to play football because you've got to stay strong and healthy. It's true. So what are you running towards? What are you using your legs to run? I don't want to miss out. YOLO, FOMO. So I better run to Ben Yehuda Street on Saturday night. I'm missing out on the good stuff. It's not what your legs are for, man. It's not what. So fine, so that's really our introduction. Our introduction is, our purpose is God consciousness, and we're going to do it with purity, simplicity, sincerity, and immense joy. Immense joy. You'll be very, very excited to be involved in this work. So how was everyone said Shema this morning? A mitzvah from the Torah. How was that for you? Was it amazing? Did you build up? Were you getting excited as you were coming up to it? You're like, oh my goodness, I'm about to say Shema. And everyone said Shema. Rabbi Akiva, whilst he was being tortured to death, said Shema. Unfortunately, millions of Jews on their deathbed or in difficult situations, the last thing they said, Shema Yisrael. And we say it when we take out the Torah. And we say it at a bris. Happy occasions we say Shema. We're saying Shema the whole time. So how was your Shema this morning? He said, amazing. Love Shema. What an amazing opportunity. So you've got to prepare to be besimcha with these things. And now we're into the content. Ot Aleph. The first thing. Chevratenu eino chevra k'dei la'asif koach v'lit'arev be'inyanei ha'medina v'ha'killah. Our group, our inner circle of God-conscious people, it's got nothing to do with power and government and that type of stuff. That's not what it's about. We're not here for authority and glory. That's absolutely not what we're doing. What we're actually trying to do is take a step and raise ourselves where we're basically above the world. We're just not involved in that world. Now, obviously, we're going to be involved in the world in terms of feeding orphans and looking after widows. That's okay. In terms of politics and religion and all that stuff, we're moving away from this. And this is, I think we said it last time, one of my favorite things about Shabbat. Shabbat is basically saying, I don't buy into your world. I'm not touching money. I'm not touching my phone. I'm not watching anything. There's no social media. There's nothing. Things that people do all week. What do people spend all week doing? They spend all week working, watching stuff, and shopping. Working, watching stuff, and buying stuff. Wow, isn't that crazy? That's what people do all day. They work, they watch things, and they buy things. So on Shabbat, we're saying we're not doing any of those three things that everyone does all the time, because we're just saying, I'm not so involved in that. It's not interesting to me. I'll do it. We have to have 6 days. I'll do it. But even my work is going to be holy work. It's going to be work to help people when I'm doing my work. And even my shopping, I'm going to go and buy Sfarim. If you got $1 million, what would you buy? The first thing should come to your mind should be like a new talis. Or I'd buy tefillin for my friend. I know he doesn't have tefillin. Like, do you have any material aspirations? I want a nice suit. Or maybe for Shabbos. I'd like to have a nicer Shabbos suit, but just to honor the Shabbos. But I don't have any, I don't need cars and houses and flat screen TVs and Armani suits. Just no aspiration for that. It means completely nothing to me. In fact, if someone gave me $1 million, I don't think my life would change that much. Everyone's, because $1 million is nothing nowadays. You need $1 billion, rabbi. If someone gave me $10 million, well, the first thing I'd do is give a lot of it away. That'd be amazing. I actually had a dream last night that I shaved off my beard, for $100,000. And then I gave all the $100,000 to tzedakah. And I woke up and I thought, you know what? If someone offered me $100,000 to shave my beard, I would do it. And I'd give it but I'd give it all to tzedakah to prove that it was nothing to do with the money. But what, my beard is more important than $100,000 to tzedakah? No way. So if anyone's watching, it was a bit of a funny dream. I don't know why anyone would do that. But what's your aspirations in this world, even in the worldly things? So what did we say? There's work, watching, and shopping. So I'm buying holy things. I'm buying books. I'm buying mitzvah items. I'm giving tzedakah. I'm working, Baruch Hashem, I'm working in a yeshiva, learning Torah, teaching Torah, helping people. And what am I watching? I'm watching Torah anytime. That's what I'm listening to, or some good Jewish music. So even when I'm involved in those things, I'm going to make sure they're holy. But Shabbos is saying, I'm not even going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be with Hashem. So this is what he's saying. Our whole chevra is to say that yes, we've got to be involved in the world, but we're not controlled by the world. The more you're invested in things of this world, and your thought is taken to these things of the world, the less you can connect in a truly spiritual way to Hashem, because your soul doesn't really care about any of that stuff. Soul's just not interested in the latest gossip. Oh my goodness, did you hear what happened in America? I didn't. That's why I can't tell you. I don't care. You know what, Brad Pitt? Did you hear about Brad Pitt's new whatever? No, not did I. I just don't care. I'm just not invested in that world. How much does the Rosh Yeshiva speak about eating? How much does Rosh Yeshiva eat? Have you ever seen them eat? I've never seen them. So, in general, someone who's very, very focused on spirituality, they're not speaking about food. Food is what I eat to stay alive so I can learn Torah and do mitzvahs. So this is what he's saying. There's this whole world that most people are invested in. And we want to be people we're just taking a step beyond that. But to the extent we need it, we get involved. But even that in a holy way. And all of it's sha'ainai v'hamaino. It's commotion and turmoil. How many people are stressed at work, do you think? Everyone. It's crazy. Not anyone here, by the way. Oh, there's a couple of people, but in general. Your general person working in an office, a bank, real estate agent, wherever they are, they're pretty kind of stressed. And how many people have relationship issues? Most people have kind of difficult relationship issues. There's so much turmoil and so much tired. How do you say that in English? Toil, struggle. There's so much struggle in life that when your whole life is all about that, your work and your shopping and your watching and stuff, it's a very, very big struggle. Now, life isn't really meant to be a struggle. You're meant to really be enjoying life. You're meant to be struggling with the taisvus. What does it mean? That should be a struggle. I just can't chap this Gemara. That's a worthwhile struggle, but all the struggles of sense of self and financial stuff, we're not really meant to be wasting our time with that sort of stuff. Therefore, in our hidden society of holy people, there's not going to be any status. Who's the president? Who's going to be the president of the society? He's saying that there can't be any of that because there's no sense of self. Now, obviously, by the way, the Piznetz and the Rebbe was the biggest tzaddik who ever walked the face of the earth. Well, whatever, one of them. So clearly he was the head, but he's saying, but it's not about that. That's not what it's about. We're about working on this together, and that we only get into the idea of who's the president. I'm the president. I'm the chairman of the shul. What a status symbol. The chair, he said, there's no chairman, there's no president. There's just people working together, because when our goal is God consciousness, it's very hard to tell who's higher than someone else. Very, very hard to tell. A very new guy in foundations, put on tefillin for the first time, learning about God, and then you got some guy in the base midrash, steiging mamish all day, Gemara Rashi Tosfos. Who's really on a higher level? Answer, I have no idea. I really have no idea. He might be steiging all day a bit resentfully, and this new guy in foundations is freaking out that there's a God. It often happens. Like, I can't believe there's a God. So this is, the Rosh Hashiva speak about it the other day. Often people, when they start becoming interested in Judaism and they hear these amazing inspirational classes, they're like, this is amazing. I'm on fire. And then they go into the Foundations Plus, or whatever it is. And then they go into the base midrash, and then suddenly you're learning Gemara for a long time. And it's more of a struggle, and you've forgotten why you're here. And you've forgotten the inspiration and the excitement. And then you're starting to learn about, can you build a sukkah on a boat? And you're thinking to yourself, why is that relevant? And Dofen Akuma and Lavud, but why is that relevant? Everything I was learning in foundations was so relevant. How to work on my character traits, what the deeper meaning of tefillin is. Suddenly I'm learning all this stuff that doesn't seem so relevant, so it becomes harder, and therefore you can lose your fire. You can lose. In fact, someone said to me a few times, he said, I feel a bit messed up because I can't really fit back into the world I came from, because I see it's just empty. I don't really fit into this world either. It's hard. I can't pray 3 times a day. I don't know the words. I don't know the songs. So you get into this place where you're in a kind of a middle land, and you're not there or there, and it can be a bit confusing. Someone once said to me, I know that Torah is true. I know that this way of life is better, but I'm just much more comfortable at home. I know where to get weed, and I know how to pick up women, and I'm just cool. At home, I'm cool. I know everything. I know what to do. I know it's not good for me, but I enjoy it, and I'm cool. Here, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know it's true. So what do I do? So our key, and this is what the Cheburah is talking about, is to keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning. I've been here for 17 years now. I'm the biggest flaming Baal Tshuva you ever meet still. But there's 2 types of flaming Baal Tshuva. It's called a flaming Baal Tshuva. They get very on fire. But flaming Baal Tshuvas can burn other people, judge other people. Like, what are you doing? Like Rabbi Shimon, when he came out of the cave and he was just burning everyone. But another type of fiery Baal Tshuva is just setting everyone else on fire. It's like, I want this too. But if you're not on fire yourself, very, very difficult. For yourself, by the way. I know my friends, 17 years later, and we were at yeshiva together, and they're married now with their black hat and their wife, and they're married to their black hat and their wife, and they got 5 children, but they come to speak to me. They say, I'm just doing it because that's what I'm doing now. I've lost any of my fire, and I have to, okay, let's start again. Why are we doing it? Why do we believe it? Are you coming into the present moment? Are you putting the effort in? Or do you have an actual relationship with Hashem? Many people, 15 years into their Baal Tshuva journey, they're not having a relationship with Hashem anymore. They're having a relationship with the Shulchan Aruch. They're doing everything they need to do, but they've lost their palpable, exciting relationship with Hashem, and we can't do that. Very dangerous to do that. So he's saying our goal in life is to, I gave the example the other day, if you have this big fire or you have burning coals. Big fire seems very, but it burns out quite quickly, and it's going to mess up your steak and chicken on your barbecue. But burning, glowing coals, they're much hotter actually, and they're much longer lasting, and they cook your food nicely. So that's what we want to do. We want to start by being flaming and this big inspiration, but then we've got to settle into this warm, hot glow of consciousness, however that takes effort. We've got to keep investing in that effort. Ki yesod chevretenu hi shiflus v'hitromimut. This is so good, because the foundation of our society is shiflut. Do you know what shiflut means?
Lowliness.
Yes. Shiflut means lowliness. Now you've got to be very, very careful when you hear this word, because lots of books use this word. And some people think lowliness means looking down on yourself. I'm nothing. And that's not what it means. It's a type of humility where you realize however great you might be, you're still going to the bathroom and going to sleep. And there's a divine creator of the universe. However great, however much money you have, how many cars you drive, you think of that most famous, arrogant person in the world, he's still going to the bathroom, and he still gets mosquito bites, and he still gets annoyed. And so actually what we are, there's no reason to be arrogant. There's no reason to be arrogant. In fact, the people who deserve to be arrogant, they're not arrogant. Like Rav Hirschman. Don't know if you know Rav Hirschman yet. He's the most wonderful human. He's in the Beis Midrash. Humble, sweet, intelligent, loving, cares. He's just an unbelievable human being. Now, if he heard me telling you about him like this, he'd be so embarrassed, and he'd be like, really? Like, he's not talking about me. What? Rav Dov Ber was giving an example of a tzaddik, and he used me. He'd actually be embarrassed. If it was the other way around, and you came out to me and said, hey, Rav Hirschman said, like, you're amazing, I'd be like, no. The best. And then I'd try to be humble. I'd struggle. I'd be like, yeah, no. But he wouldn't. He's just actually humble. Now, what does that prove? It proves that I don't deserve to be arrogant, and he does. Because humility is the highest quality and arrogance is the lowest quality. So as soon as you're egotistical and arrogant, you don't deserve to be. As soon as you're not, you deserve to be, but you never would be. Very important point. So shiftless is a beautiful idea. It's, I'm not putting myself above other people. I never put myself above other people. Not judging people, not putting people down. Moshe Rabbeinu taught the best way to do this. You look at someone else who is lower than you, worse than you, and said, well, maybe if I had their upbringing and their talents and resources, I would be doing worse than them. Maybe for what they had, they're actually doing really very well. And maybe if they had what I had, they had my upbringing and my opportunities, they'd be doing much better than I'm doing. So how can you ever judge? This is how our sources teach us that this is how Moshe Rabbeinu stayed humble. Because he said, I don't know. Who knows? I might be doing really badly given my opportunities, and they might be doing really well given this. And that's why we can never judge anyone, because you're only ever judged on your own level. The Gemara says that everyone can reach the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. Is that true? Can you sit up in a mountain for 40 days and 40 nights without eating and sleeping? No. So, the Gemara says that everyone can reach the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. Is that true? Yes. If the Gemara says it is true, we've just got to work out how it's true. That was a trick question. So, it means just like he can reach his full potential, so you can reach your full potential. That's all. So Moshe Rabbeinu's 100% potential is up here. My 100% potential is 2% of his, down here. Let's say Moshe Rabbeinu reaches 98% of his potential, and I reach 99% of my potential, which is 1% of his. I won. I'm greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. Isn't that cool? In God's eyes, you're only judged according to you. Amazing. So of course you can be as great as Moshe Rabbeinu, but no, you're not expected to sit up a mountain for 40 days and 40 nights without eating. I did 7 days and 7 nights with 2 cups of water a day, and on 3 days a small piece of papaya, and on 1 day half an apple. That was cool. And people say, how was it? How is it to fast for a week? And I said, very, very, very hungry. I was very hungry. Yes, it was amazing. On the 4th day, I got some like spiritual energy. I started doing push-ups. It was great. So, but listen to this. He says an amazing thing. Yesod chavritenu hu shiflut v'hit romemut. You know what hit romemut means? What is romemut?
Elevation.
Elevation, exaltedness. So he just said in one sentence, the foundation of our society, of our group, is lowliness and exaltedness. 2 complete opposites. But obviously not opposite, because the more humble you are, the more you can tap into higher states of God consciousness, and that is great. That's the highest exaltedness you can reach. When it's all about you and your ego, there's only so great you can be. But when it's not about you and it's about Hashem and how much I can reflect the light of Hashem into the world, then the lower you are, the greater you can be. The lower you are, this is why Jews, we're moon people. We run our months by the moon, not by the sun. Because the moon has no light of its own. The only job of the moon is really to reflect the light of the sun into the world and control the tides and all that stuff. So if the moon, I have to check this out. I did ask one physicist if this is true. If the moon had some light of its own, it wouldn't reflect the light of the sun as well. That makes sense to me. And this guy says he thinks that's true. I should check it. But the idea makes sense. If the moon had some of its own light, it wouldn't reflect the light of the sun so well. Now, because the moon is just a rock, has no light of its own, you know how bright the moon is? Full moon? Right, that's the whole light of the sun. So the lower you are, the greater you are in Judaism. The more humble you are, the greater person you are. The more you get rid of your ego, the more you get rid of your ego, the more you can tap into your soul. And your soul is extremely exalted and amazing. Shivlot etzem gufa nefesh v'izromemut kedushatan. What we're going to do is we're going to understand the lowliness of the body, which is just going to get old and die. This is very important. If you've identified as a body and you're so body obsessed the whole time, then getting old is really horrible. It's really scary. But if you identify as a soul, then getting old is cool, because your soul just gets better and better. Your body gets worse and worse. Your soul just gets better and better. I'm thinking 50 years from now, I will have davened how many more Shemona Esrei? Whatever. How many Shemona Esrei do we daven? 365 times 3 is 1,000. So if 50 years from now I would have davened 50,000 more Shemona. How many Shabbos? I worked out, it was my anniversary this Shabbos, 15 years. And I worked it out, not exactly, but we had 760 Shabbos together. That's so good. So in 50 years from now, I would have put on tefillin that many more times. And every time I put on tefillin, I'm pumping up my neshama. How many brachas will I have said in 50 years from now? How much meditation will I have done? How much I would have worked on my midah? Hopefully in 50 years from now, I will actually be a little bit humble like Rav Hirschman. And by the way, I got a problem, because if I ever get humble, I'll be the most arrogant person ever, because I'll be like, I'm humble now as well. I got everything and I'm humble. But imagine 50 years from now who we could be. You know who you could be 50 years from now? You could be a tzaddik, mami. There's no reason you shouldn't be a tzaddik. 50 years, if you just get down and do what you have to do, work on your character traits, refine yourself, let go of any evil within you, tap into consciously putting on your tefillin and davening and meditating, how many more Pesach, Leil Seders would we have had? Every Leil Seder is like boosting you miles. How many Rosh Hashanahs, how many Yom Kippurs, how many Hanukkah candles will you have lit in 50 years from now? So I'm very, very, very excited about being 90. My wife thinks it's a bit weird. You know, there was that app, I haven't seen it for a while, where you could take a picture of yourself and then make yourself look older. Yeah? It was cool. So I used to do it, and I showed my wife, and she goes, I'm like, no, look how beautiful that man is. He said, like, in 50 years from now, I'm just going to have this long white beard. I'm just going to be sitting there, like, smiling. I'm going to be one of those happy tzaddikim. Like, no, at that point, yeah. Can you see this? So who's looking forward? Are you looking forward to being 90 years old? Now, if you're invested in this world and your body, then no one's looking forward to being 90 years old. If you're invested in Neshama and Hashem and Torah, what amazing. You just got your talis on and you're just loving and sweet. You know how calm and peaceful you're going to be in 50 years from now? Especially because you won't have responsibilities at that point. You'll just be able to just be so good. You're just going to be so good. You would have let go of all of your anger, all of your hatred, all of your jealousy, all of your anxiety. You would have tapped into such peace and consciousness and love and joy. It's going to be so good. So that's what it is. So the shivless of the lowliness also of your body, but it's romimut kedushatam, the exaltedness of their holiness. Because your body is very holy. Why is your body so holy? Because you put tefillin on it. You can't put on tefillin if you don't have a body. You can't give tzedakah if you don't have a body. You need a body to do mitzvahs. So Judaism doesn't say the body's low, it's just an animal, it's terrible. We say we can train and use the body to serve Hashem. So good. If you don't have a body, you can't help anyone. If you don't have a body, you can't eat matzah. You can't shake a lulav and etrog without a body. So once you tap into the holiness of these things, it uplifts all of it. And in a place where we reveal holiness, ein makom lekibudim v'shirut. There is no place for honors and titles. So this is the first thing. He's setting up this thing, and he's clearly the leader. He's saying, there's no place for honors and titles within us. Because who says I'm better than you? The Lubavitcher Rebbe didn't like the word kiruv. So you can't say kiruv, because who knows who's closer? Yeah, you're keeping Shabbat, they're not keeping Shabbat, but maybe they're thinking about Hashem all day and loving Hashem, and you're not. So you can't judge if you're closer than other people. So Be'ez Hashem, this is what we're doing. We are getting together to become above this world, but then function in the world in a healthy way. And we're doing it together as a group, as equals, trying to each reach our individual potential, but our potential as a group together, Jewish people.